What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? This is Matt Marinoff, aka the Hebrew Hammer, and my co-pilot today is Joey Lawrence. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Joey Lawrence, not the other Joey Lawrence. So people are tuning in. This is the other Joey Lawrence.
Whoa.
Say hi, Joe.
Hello, everybody. How are you?
All right, guys. So Joe Lawrence and I have actually known each other a very long time. Great guy. Whoa. He has a ton of information. He's been around the industry for a very long time. I knew him from, I'm going to say, 2007?
Yeah, brother. 2007.
2007. Joe actually took the short sale class that I had, him and his dad. And, right?
Yeah.
How is your dad doing?
He's doing great, man.
No, tell your dad I said hi.
He's living life.
And Joe basically took it in a completely different direction, which today we're going to actually be doing screenshots. And Joe's going to be doing a little bit of a PowerPoint. He's going to talk about his business model. Today isn't about selling. It's about telling and sharing and caring and information and education. But he's actually going to be talking about how you can actually get up to $500,000 in business line of credit without actually walking into a bank or robbing it. Probably super important to mention. He's an investor. He's a coach. He's going to talk about his 7 steps that you're going to need to take, obviously, in business to apply for the funding, which is pretty good. And obviously, we could talk a little bit about the COVID-19, what's going on with that. Why local community banks are the backbone of our country, and basically how we can utilize them. So, Joe, without further ado, Joe Lawrence, everybody.
Hello, everyone. How are you?
Wait, hold on a second. Without further ado,
you got music?
Joe Lawrence, everybody.
Oh, wow. You got a clapper?
I got a clapper, bro.
Dude, I want to get one of those. I'm getting that right now on Amazon.
You going to buy it right now?
Forget about the live.
Money.
Hey, guys. I want to talk to you about what's working now in the marketplace and how to get up to $500,000 in funding for your business, whether it's real estate business or another type of business. Yes, banks are still lending. Yes, you can do this without having to walk into a bank. And a lot of the banks that we work with, and I'm excited to share this process with you because it does have the potential to really, help your business explode. A lot of the banks that we work with, they don't do financials. They don't need tax returns or documents and things like that. So you want me to jump right in?
Yeah, we can do. You want to go right to the PowerPoint?
Yeah, that's cool. So yeah, we have.
Boom!
Look at that.
I'm stepping up my game over here, guys.
Dude, it's looking good. So basically, the way that this process works is, just to simplify a somewhat complex process, is that you want to build up your company in such a way that banks are willing to lend to you. And then secondly, you want to reach out to local community banks and credit unions that are actively lending. So when I first started my business back in 2007, I actually took Matt's short sale class, as he mentioned, and I wanted to have money for marketing. I didn't have a lot of money at the time, and I didn't have that great of credit. It was okay, but I didn't have, a whole bunch of money just to go invest in marketing. And what I wanted to do, I learned this from a book called The Pre-Foreclosure Property Investors Kit. It's an old book. It's called The Pre-Foreclosure Property Investors Kit. I think you could still buy it on Amazon. And so anyways, in the book, it talked all about like how to send direct mail letters to homeowners that were in distress and how you could help them out, help them avoid foreclosure, and at the same time make some money as well, wholesale in the contracts and all that sort of thing. And so I wanted to launch my direct mail campaign, and I didn't have any money to do that. So what I found was that I could go get business credit. And even though I only had like maybe 10, 20 grand in personal credit, with business credit, even on a new company, I was able to get $100,000 in business credit, and it doesn't show up on my personal credit report, which is very cool.
Joe, real quick, for the people that are tuning in, you had $10,000, $20,000 personal credit. you went and got business credit, and the business credit that you got has nothing to do with your personal credit. Do they review your personal credit bureau?
Yeah, they do. They look at your personal credit scores and your business credit scores as well.
Okay.
So the way that that works is you need to build up. Both are important. It's very important to build up your personal credit score, but also build up your business credit score because the banks are looking at a blended score between the two.
Okay.
So I think your boy Jizzy covered the personal credit
Right.
recently, right?
Yep. Yesterday.
Yeah. So you're good on that. And then now let's talk. Today we'll talk about the business credit. This is a picture of me literally handwriting letters, or at least posing for the photo of all the handwritten letters that we did as a result of getting business lines of credit. The first credit card that I got was a $25,000 Chase card from Chase. It was a business credit card. And I used the money from that in order to pay for all the stamps, pay for all the marketing, because stamps are expensive. Like at the time, Matt, do you remember when you only had to send like 2,000 to 3,000 pieces per month to get a good response, bro?
Yeah.
I mean,
those days are over.
Those days are over. You probably need to send, I don't know, 5,000 to 10,000 pieces a month. I don't really know. I don't do it anymore. But I remember like I could send 2,500 letters and get like 10 deals. Those were the days. But even if you have to do more, it doesn't matter because you could get a business credit card if you wanted to take this route. And I believe it's good debt because if you use this debt in order to launch your marketing campaign and the marketing campaign brings you revenue, then the revenue is covering the cost of the debt. Right. And some of these deals you could make 50,000, 100,000, 150 or whatever on. So that's more than going to cover the cost of your marketing. You know. So, should I talk about my first deal, or you want to jump into the step one of business?
No, talk about it.
Talk about it. So this is the first deal that I did, and it's in Warren, New Jersey. I drove by the house the other day. Actually, it's still there. We locked it up for $385, and we had only sent like a couple thousand letters. We used the business credit card to pay for the cost of doing that. And the call came in on a Friday. We had reached out to the homeowner on Wednesday, so only a couple days later they gave us a call, and their sheriff's sale was that Tuesday.
Sweet.
So this is my first deal. I didn't know what the heck I was doing. I had 3 days to stop a sheriff's sale, basically. And what we ended up doing is I put on the suit and tie, and I went down to the courthouse, and I got the 7th extension from the judge, which probably doesn't happen as often right now. But she gave me 30 days to figure it out. And what I did was I put it under contract for what they owe. I asked the magic question, which was, would you sell for what you owe? And then I also gave them credit repair and like other stuff like that to help them get back on their feet. Right. But we bought it as is, strictly at $385, and I marketed it and sold it for $415 with just a couple weeks later.
Nice.
So it's about $30,000 gross profit, about $24,000 net profit, and yeah, I mean things really took off from there because I'm a man of systems and I like studying data and things like that. So once I figured out that process, I sent out way more letters, and then like the next 60 days, we ended up getting 20 deals under contract just over in that 2-month period, and I went nuts with it, you know. So anyways, how did we get the business credit, you know? And nowadays I've been in business, you know, now I guess it's been 13 years. I have 97 rental units. I fixed and flipped a lot of properties.
Wait, how many do you have now?
97.
Jesus Christ.
And so, which is kind of cool because thank God, even with COVID-19, our some of them are Section 8, and if you know, we're not in too bad a shape as a result of the lost rent. I mean, I would say it's about 70%, 65-70% collection. So it's not too bad. I was definitely nervous about that a month ago. But anyways, what I found is that there's a system of building up business credit that works really well, and I created these 7 steps. And I created this and I started talking about it, and then I had somebody put me on stage. He was like, I want I want you to go tell everybody what you just learned and create steps. And I had like 5 minutes of prep time. And at the time it was only 5 steps. Now it's 7. But I went up on the stage at this event, and I just kind of winged it, put it together, and a lot of people were excited about it, and they wanted to learn more about how the process works, and that's why I created, kind of on the fly, Business Credit Workshop. And then here we are, like 12 years later. We have 1,800 clients. We work with 500 banks all across the country, many of which are here in New Jersey and will lend to real estate investors. A lot of them do no doc unsecured business lines of credit. And by the end of this presentation, I'll show you the exact process of how to find those banks. I'm curious though, with your event, have you rescheduled it yet? Like, is there a new date?
So May, it was supposed to be in May. We pushed it off to October 16th and 17th.
Okay.
October 16th and 17th. So God willing, and cleans up quick, we'll be good. If not, we're actually in the process right now of building it online.
Okay.
So in the event we actually have to do it online, we can, and then everybody can come on and actually do their presentation online for people. And we're gonna set up a private group just for that, or a Zoom call, something like that. So either way, people will get the benefit from it, 100%.
Awesome. All right, I love it. So these are basically the 7 steps of building business credit. The first thing that you want to do, of course, is have your company created. Then you want to make your company business credit ready, so it's ready to obtain funding. Phase 3, which we're going to do a deep dive on today, is how to network with local banks and how to find these community banks that offer these programs. Phase 4, how to set up your business credit profiles, because your business has its own business credit profile, completely separate from your personal credit profile. Right. Phase 5, just building these small trade lines of credit, boosting up that profile that you just created. And phase 6, keeping your eye on everything, optimizing it all. And then, of course, phase 7, getting the business credit. So the first step, of course, is create the business. So a lot of people watching this, you probably already created your business, but the other half of you have not. So if you're starting fresh, if you can, create your company with a neutral name, just because it'll open up. If you have a neutral name and a neutral line of business, it kind of opens up the banks that you can work with. What's cool about current day in 2020, Matt, is when I started this 13 years ago, real estate was it was hard to get unsecured business funding for real estate businesses. Whereas now it's not as hard to get, even though real estate is still considered speculative. And the reason for that is very simple. It's because you're buying something without the buyer yet. Usually that's how real estate's looked at, is you're buying something, you're going to renovate it, and you're going to hope you'll be able to sell it. That's how banks look at it. Doesn't mean that's how I look at it.
Right.
Whereas, if you're like a wholesale business or like a other types of businesses, you have booked a year's worth of business or 6 months of business, and now you have to deliver on that. So banks like that type of business, like warehousing and manufacturing businesses and all that. But how did us real estate investors figure out how to still be able to get funding when the industry didn't want to lend to real estate investors? Is we created our businesses to be a little more neutral. So this step is not as important anymore if your company's already up and running. But if you are starting fresh, a classic example of this is SC Johnson. That is a neutral name, and they all own the trademark to Windex. So SC Johnson's like the parent company, that's kind of neutral, but then they have branding for their doing business as, or their trademarks or their subsidiaries. You definitely want to create LLC or corporation. Sole proprietorship is not going to work. And just to top off phase 1, make sure you get your EIN number, open your checking account, and get your business listed. If the bank Googles your business and they look at the 401 database, remember banks are kind of stuck in the 1980s, so they're still looking at 401.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. But newer banks now, they're Googling your company. They want to see your online presence. So just as important as it is to get 411 listed, make sure you have a good online presence. I can show you
Joe, let me ask you a question. So let's say somebody's tuning in now and they're watching this, and obviously I'm leaving up the 7 phases of obtaining, business credit. They can actually reach out to you. They can go onto the website. This is all about giving and sharing and education. We're not talking like how much it costs today and everything else. But let me ask you this. I want people to think about this logically. This doesn't only have to be with real estate. This could be with anything. Although we're investors,
Yeah.
we're in real estate. If somebody wants to start a business or they're thinking about a concept of a business or whatever, they should be reaching out to you to help them to get the funding for business credit. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. You're going to learn. Everyone's going to learn today, like the process of how we do things. But some people say, "Well, have you done this already? Can you do this for me?" And we have options available for you, where you could reach out to us. Definitely mention Matt, so we could take good care of you. And this does work for all businesses. Of course, we're real estate investors, so we're very real estate focused. But I have guys that are e-com businesses. I have a manufacturing plant out of Central New Jersey. That's a client of mine.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so it works with any type of business. I'll always try to show you guys like 2 ways to do things. So I talked about getting listed and listing your company, which you would need to get listed like on 411 and Yellow Pages, Super Pages, and all that. It takes a little while to do all those free listings. If you wanted to do a paid service, you could also just use Moz. It's MOZ. This is what their website looks like.
Mm-hmm.
And you just click on Moz Local, and it's a couple $100, but they do all this work for you, and they'll help you get reviews, and they'll get your business on the map. So I just wanted to drop that as a quick knowledge bomb for you.
So Joe, people are tuning in right now. Are you actually saying that you could? How old does your entity have to be able to obtain business credit?
That's a great question, and I'm glad you asked. The answer is it depends on the type of credit that you want to get. So if you're looking to get unsecured business lines of credit, that's where it's like a real line of credit. You could transfer the money right into your checking account, and you can pull it out as cash or write a check. You need to be in business for at least 2 years. If you're just starting out,
what if it's because we got to back up a little bit because people might not be familiar with this. So if it's 2 years in business, is it 2 years of an LLC, S corp, or C corp? What if the company's just shelved? What if it's not active? Do they still have to have the fees filed with the state showing that it's been open for 2 years?
What's really cool about that is most banks will let you, like, let's say you're in real estate, you created an LLC. Every real estate investor does this. They create an LLC and they just never pursued it. They never did that deal or whatever. So they have the seasoned company or shelved company, as you said. All you have to do really is bring that company back to life, make sure it's active in good standing with the state, and do these other steps like get your company checking account opened up, get 411 listed, get your online presence, and then you can use that entity. Yes. Interesting. And it would count as 2 years.
What's the minimum you've ever gotten somebody right out of the box, and what was their middle credit score?
So for personal credit score, I would say like minimum would need to be like 680 or higher. You could clear 6 figures on that alone. If you can build up your business credit profile properly and follow these steps, then with that same credit score, you could get. I'll show you guys how to get $500,000 in funding with that type of profile.
Can somebody do this on their own, Joe? Conceivably.
Yeah, absolutely.
Why do people not do it? Like, if you have a business right now, and obviously COVID-19, we got some serious shit going on right now.
Yeah, exactly.
This type of stuff could actually save somebody's business.
Yeah, we have a lot of clients. That's why I was kind of quiet the last 30 days that reached out to me in desperate need, and getting them funding has been able to keep them afloat. So that's one of the things that's good to have is you want to have the funding for a rainy day, not just using it to expand your marketing or like grow your business, but you can use this to keep your business afloat
So you're
why
telling me right now that even with COVID-19, you still have banks right now that are willing to give people business lines of credit?
Yeah, there's all the core banks that I work with in New Jersey are still lending.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe instead of getting 100 grand from one bank, you're only getting 50,000 from one bank, but you're still getting a no document secure business line of credit. If you're in dire need of money, the bank's going to be a little more hesitant to lend to you. But it depends on the lender. Like some lenders straight up ask you, are you affected negatively by COVID-19? And you got to tell the truth, right? And if so, they might have another type of program for you. Some banks don't ask, don't tell. So you just go get the line of credit, you know?
That's amazing. And do you help people what to say, what not to say, as far as on the application? Are you taking the application or no?
No, so I won't be able to do that because I'm a very conservative person.
Okay.
I won't do the application for you. I won't sign anything for you. There are companies that do that, but I think they're opening up a can of worms of liability.
Yeah, of course.
So I won't be able to necessarily coach you through what to say because I think that would be dangerous. But we can have an open and honest conversation about your situation. And then I can usually have an open and honest conversation with the vice president of business lending. And then they'll filter out how they're going to present you to their underwriting department. That's the best way to go forward.
That's amazing. I think that's amazing. So you had mentioned that you have approximately 500 different lending sources that you deal with.
Yeah.
That's some pretty interesting shit, man. 500.
I can get it.
And even with COVID-19, these people were still lending.
Yeah, they're still lending. There's only so we have two account managers. They each make somewhere between 70, 80 phone calls per day. So let's say we make about 100. What's that?
Who makes those phone calls?
My two account managers.
Nice. So you have people working for you now.
Yeah, we have two account managers that work for us, and they'll, let's say, combined 150 phone calls they'll make per day. The reason we have to always have that position constantly making calls is things change with local banks like all the time, every quarter, right? You know that. It's like this month we're using this month we're using that. So I'll show you guys the process of how they find the banks and how they interview them and like how they find out what programs they offer. And there's only a small percentage of banks that says we can't lend right now because of COVID-19. And there's a few banks that are saying, we only want to talk to you about PPP, payment protection program, payroll protection program. I can't talk to you, which, they just added more money to it yesterday. It's probably going to run out in 2 weeks. And then a week or two after that, things should be back to somewhat normal. So if a bank tells you we can't talk to you because of PPP, just touch base with them in 2 to 3 weeks, or make a call for the next bank. Just call.
I'm not saying that the general public is making too much with COVID-19. Guys, just wash your hands and put on a goddamn mask and let's get back to work. That's how I look at it.
Right.
My wife does not look at it that way. She's actually nailed my door shut to my office, and she stuck my food under the door because she doesn't want me to go out. But I would say, all in all, the country has to come back. This is something that I know unemployment's at an all-time high. We're going to get through this. And right now is an amazing time to take advantage of something like this. And the fact that you have time during the day, I appreciate it. I know you're very busy. I love the fact that you're coming on here and we're educating people. I mean, Christ, if you can get up to $500,000 on the line of credit, why not find out what your current options are and what's available? Are those funds going to run out or not?
I think what will happen is the banks will be more conservative very soon in the next 90 days. But when you and I went through this once already, where we went through the Great Recession, and I'm so happy I went through that because it made us figure out how do we still get funding for our businesses, for our real estate investors, our clients in the middle of a horrible recession of 2007, 8, and all that. And the answer is it's still the same process, which great segue to the next slide here is you got to work with local banks. And it's all about networking and working with local community banks to see what they offer, to see what programs they have.
Right.
And so with respect to local bank networking, let me jump to some of the goods. This is how we find basically unlimited lenders in any state. We have a spreadsheet, and it's a Google document, and you have the phone number of the bank and all that information. And what you do is, I'll do this real in live time. So you would Google SBA lender list, New Jersey, because that's where we are. And then let's look at the SBA.gov official website. And we'll click on the spreadsheet. I'll zoom in. And then what I do is I take all these banks. This is just one list you can grab. There's a lot of lists. But I take all these banks and I put them on a spreadsheet. Okay, you got the name of the bank, the phone number of the bank, etc. Let me grab another. Let's see if there's another list too. There might be. Now this is a little outdated. Some of the data is like from 2013. But what's happening here is the SBA ranks every year. The list I just showed you is a little fresher, but it didn't have as many banks. This is a little older list, but it has a lot more banks. So I wanted to show you this one. So what happens is the SBA looks at banks every year and they say, hey guys, here's the top lending banks in your state. As a small business owner, why wouldn't you start with this list? These are all local community banks, credit unions. Some of them are bigger than others, like obviously Chase and TD Bank are huge. But some of these banks you probably never heard of. Like I never heard of Noah Bank. Have you?
Actually, I have. He's one of the founders of Noah's Ark.
He financed Noah's Ark.
Yeah, he financed it.
Oh man, good for him.
Yeah.
So like Fulton Bank in New Jersey, we do a lot of business with them. That's a great bank. So these are all good banks to throw down on your spreadsheet, right?
Right.
So then, and this is work. I mean, it's not easy. It's simple, but it's not easy work. You got to do the work, right? Just like a short sale. It's simple, but it takes work.
So if somebody would want to reach out to you, and obviously, they can mention RRG Matt is the code when they call in or talk
Gotcha.
whatever. What's the difference if they tried to do it on for themselves, or if you were to do it? What's the success rate if somebody does it by themselves? How long could it take, or how much longer or shorter would it take if they were to utilize your company?
Yeah, I like that question. So for them to do it themselves, which is what we're showing you here, if you're working full time, you could probably bang out, like I said, 70, 80 phone calls a day. If there's on this list in New Jersey, there's like 200 banks, and it does take 3 or 4 or 5 phone calls each to get someone on the line, especially now because all the bankers are working from home. So you got to email them, you got to call them, leave a message, wait for them to call you back. And if you do it, I have clients, I have people that are not clients, but they're in our Facebook group, our free Facebook group, that have done this process just on these free training videos. And they say, they'll say, like, everyone get all excited. I found a bank in South Carolina that does a no-doc business line of credit doing this exact process. So if you're willing to do that work and network with these banks, and at the time I would say visit the banks and all that. Now it's more phone calls and emails. You'll come up with a list, but it's going to take you a few months.
I want to ask you a question. Why are you giving all the information away to people for free?
I think this could really, one of my first students, you might know him. His name is Greg Dashkin. I met him at some of the events you and I used to go to.
Right.
And he was in kind of some challenging situation with his business, but he was making money. He was making $200,000 to $300,000 in revenue.
Right.
But he could have been making so much more. His situation was that he had orders come in, but he needed the money right now to fulfill those orders. He's a marketing company, right?
Got it.
And to this day, we still keep in touch. I still help him get funding, and I did a video with him and all that. He's one of many people that have shared with me, this process changed my life. So, that's why I'm very passionate about using good debt to create financial freedom. And if I could help you, inspire you some way, I'm doing my part. I got good information that could help you. I have an obligation to share it with you.
Yeah, it's funny you just mentioned something. You said good debt.
Yeah.
People look at credit card debt, personal debt, as bad debt, but it's the reverse with business debt. Why is that?
The use of the debt in my opinion, determines if it's good or bad. So if you're using business debt in order to generate revenue or funnel it into a proven marketing system or buy an asset, like I use business credit all the time to pay for repairs on properties I own, which is improving the equity of the property. Or I use the money in order to buy and hold property. I do the BRRRR method a lot. So good debt, to me, it's anything that can help increase your revenue, increase your lifestyle, and that the income generated from the debt pays for the debt itself. So that's how I look at good debt.
This is really amazing information. I hope people really, because people are coming on and off, I hope people really take the time to watch this. And I truly appreciate you coming on and educating people and showing them that, there is a way to help yourself out right now. And if you're struggling, and look, I think 2-3 months, I think we're going to be okay. We just have to get through that time. That's really it. I mean, seems like everybody's doing their part for the most part. And hopefully we can keep going with it. So keep going, Joe. Sorry about that.
No, I like it as a conversation. That's awesome. I agree with you, man. 100%. I think, obviously everyone is working towards getting things back to normal. Yeah. So, I mean, that's the direction that we're headed. So why not obtain funding now if you know what to do with it, if you know how to put good use to it. And so, yeah. And to piggyback on what you're saying earlier, of course, I'm in business for profit. And I know that people that see this might say, hey, just do it for me. And we will do that for you, right? We're definitely looking to increase our presence online and share our message with more people.
Right.
But I know that this stuff I'm sharing with you right now, if you implement it, it should be able to change your life if you know what to do with the money, right? Like if you know, okay, I'm going to go do my marketing campaign, or that Matt's going to teach you guys at his event or whatever it is. So yeah, that's the process of how we find lenders. And then
what if somebody wants to hire you to help them? Do you work with people, individuals that actually get the money? Do you show them how to implement it with their business? You've been doing this a very long time.
Yeah, I'm glad I picked one thing and stuck with it. Yeah, we help you. We help you not only just like build up your business credit and do the 7 steps and all that, but we also help you every single week through coaching, set everything up properly. And then I do the fun part. I introduce you to like the banks that I work with. So I'll say, hey, this is Bob at XYZ Bank.
Yeah.
This is Matt Marinoff. I've known him for 13 years. He's a great guy. His business is doing well. He's looking for X, Y, and Z. And the guy I'm introducing you to he knows me on a first name basis. He knows what to do with you to get you approved and all that.
Amazing.
But yeah, that's the fun part where we put things together. I would have to, of course, have worked closely with you to make that personal introduction, because I'm very protective of my source and my contacts, right? I have to filter things out and make sure I get you ready and your personal, your business credit score, all that's ready. But yeah, that's exactly how the service works, is coaching and then the facilitation of the applications.
So Joe, let's say somebody wants to do everything. 6 months ago, how long would it have taken to obtain any type of business credit?
Well, you can actually get business credit without doing a lot of these steps. So I could argue you could get $100,000 in your first 30 days. But you may not get as high credit limits. So like you might go to PNC and get a $10,000 credit card, where I can go there and get a $25,000 business credit card.
Mm-hmm.
So if you spend a couple of months implementing this and boosting up your business credit score and all of that first,
mm-hmm.
you're more likely to get approved. You're more likely to get higher approval limits.
Right.
And it's a whole easier process than just going through like 1 or 2 big name banks. And what I really like to do too is build relationships with these community banks, these 1 or 2 branch banks that no one's really heard of, because they do in-house underwriting. So when you talk with the bank and you're building rapport with that vice president of business lending,
right.
If something doesn't look right and you need a little extra push, they usually have pull with underwriting, because a lot of the community banks are family owned. You're not getting family type of service on big national banks. But if you have if you don't fit inside of that box and you kind of need someone to pay attention to your application, you can only really do that with a local community bank or a credit union.
Joe, what if somebody doesn't have stellar credit, but they own a business? Do you show people either one how to fix their credit, or to maybe add somebody onto their company, or maybe somebody's on their company as a manager or a vice president and wouldn't think to, hey, how is your credit? Like, how would that work?
Yeah, so there's three legs of credit that I'll bring over here.
Mm-hmm.
And what you mentioned was one of the legs of credit. I'll just say like your personal credit score.
Yep.
And then the other leg of credit would be financials.
Yep.
And the third leg of credit would be collateral.
Got it.
So if you say, well, Joe, I don't have great personal credit, so I could cross that off. Well, then you need to show financials, bank statements, tax returns, things like that. Or you need to give some type of collateral, like accounts receivables, an asset that you own, your IRA, your 401k, whatever it is.
Right.
Now, what if you say, I don't want to show tax returns and I don't want to give up any collateral. I want the unsecured business lines of credit that are no doc that you mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well then, yeah, it's very much personal credit based and also business credit based. So what we need you to do is either boost up your personal credit score, or like Matt just said, just use a credit partner. And when you use a credit partner, there's risks involved for the credit partner. If you don't pay the debt, your credit partner is screwed. So, make sure they are well aware of that. Usually it's a family member, like a spouse or something like that. But yeah, you could use a credit partner and they could be the guarantor on the application. And yet you could still get the application approved in your company name.
That's amazing. So if you're going to divorce your wife and you don't really care about your business anymore, you can just bang it out and divorce her, correct? I'm only kidding. Only kidding.
The nervous laugh.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's it's a relationship between personal and business credit.
Right.
If you're gonna, if you don't want to show financials, tax returns, or give up collateral, so you'll either need a good personal credit score or you need a partner in your business that has great credit.
So if somebody has a good business credit score, is that enough or no?
So the good business credit score will raise up your blended score. In fact, it's called SBSS score, which stands for Small Business Scoring Service. And the SBSS score, it's a blend between personal credit and business credit. And so, yeah, the better your business credit score is, the less good your personal credit score has to be. But if you have really horrible personal credit, then you're not going to get no doc unsecured business lines of credit. You would need a credit partner or boost up your personal credit score. So,
and what would be, honestly, I think, was it 680?
So 680 is about the minimum. And if all your cards are maxed out, then you have too high utilization, then that's not good. Right. But what you can do is if you like this, my situation, when I said I needed to get business credit 12 years ago, I didn't have that great a credit. It's because I kept using my personal credit cards.
Right.
In the beginning, just to launch the business. And then I wanted to get like 10, 20 grand wasn't a lot of money. I wanted to get like 100 grand or more. And so that's why I moved towards business credit. So what I did is I did use a credit partner. It was a friend of our family. And that helped me get the business credit. But the other thing I could have done, which I didn't know at the time, is I could have called up a friend and say, hey, Matt, do you have any cards that are like, you got $20,000 limit and you got a really low balance, like a $0 balance? And then Matt says, yeah. And I say, could you add me as an authorized user to your account? And then you don't have to give me the credit card. But if you add me as an authorized user to your account, I just opened up $20,000 of available credit.
Interesting.
So now my personal credit utilization is much improved, which will boost up my personal credit score. So obviously,
it's really amazing information you're giving.
Isn't that really cool? So obviously, Matt and I would have to be close, and he and I have to understand all the risks associated with doing that. Right. But it's very powerful, and you can do it with your spouse too. If that is applicable to you. So there's a lot of options available. I mean, as a business credit coach, I got to find the creative but legitimate ways to, to help you get across that finish line, of course.
That's amazing. I'm gonna ask people if would you be willing to come on to one of the night shows and actually maybe dive in a little bit deeper?
Yeah. Yeah. What time are the night shows?
7 o'clock.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah, that'd be great, man.
I don't have a creepy after hour show, bro.
Like it's 1 a.m.
Yeah.
and you can't wear a shirt. Yeah, man. There's a lot of things we could do a deep dive on. Absolutely.
Okay. That would be great. I wonder if anybody has any questions or concerns. What we're talking about so far. Does anybody have any questions, concerns, anything? Bueller?
Yeah, if you guys have any questions, just shoot it in the comment box. I'll check it out. I'll answer it for you while I'm here.
That'd be great. You can keep going, John.
So now we're on phase 5. At this phase, you want to actually build up your business credit profile that we just talked about. And in order to do that, we have a comment from Samantha. Says that was powerful. Awesome. Thank you for that.
Beautiful. I love it.
Thank you for that. So, and Michael Obey, he's a friend of mine, client of mine, just jumped on the line. What's up, buddy? Welcome. So,
dude, you got a pretty strong testimonial here. Joe Lawrence is one of the most unethical, it's one of the most ethical professional individuals I've ever met. If you're looking for a personal business credit line, then he's your go-to company. Wow, bro.
Who said that? I can't see that.
That's Vanessa.
Wow. Thank you, Vanessa.
Yeah. And apparently your wife only liked it. She didn't love it.
She didn't love it?
No heart, only like. Claire, what's going on?
Am I not doing a great job?
You know what it is? She didn't want to hover over it. She's probably got shit going on.
Yeah, she's with the kids.
She was like, "Ooh, like it." Okay.
She's with the 2 kids right now, Ashley and Nikki.
There you go.
Thank you, Michael. Appreciate that. So phase 5 is basically building up your business credit profiles. So I told you guys earlier about the process of building up your business credit profiles. We talked about Moz. There's another website I want you to look at as well and consider NAV. It's NAV. And NAV has like different programs to help you boost up your business credit score. One of the programs that they have it's their highest tiered package. It's like $50 a month. And you want to sign up for that because it's going to let you look at your business credit scores and track and monitor everything, but it's also going to boost your business credit score. So they'll report to the business credit bureaus that, hey, this is an on-time positive reporting trade line. That's going to help boost up your business credit score. Mm-hmm. And the idea here at phase 5 is you want to get multiple businesses to report that you are paying your bills on time as a business. So you should, if you have an account with Home Depot, a commercial account, make sure you're using it. You're paying that on time. If you don't have an account with Home Depot, perhaps you should go get one. Staples and Quill and like gas cards like BP Gas and Valero, they all report to the business credit bureaus that you are paying your bills on time, which boosts up your business credit score.
Interesting.
Good on that?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. Okay, cool. So so we talked about phase 5. Phase 6 is going through NAV and just making sure everything's paid on time and looking at your business credit scores and everything like that. And then, boom! Now you can start applying for business credit. So at this point, you should have. There it is. So at this point, you set things up properly. You're working with local community banks and credit unions. We talked about some pretty powerful stuff on boosting your personal credit. I just shared with you a bunch of tips on boosting up your business credit. So we know that those two are kind of blended together. And now you want to talk to these local community banks and credit unions that you called a few steps ago. And you want to find out, hey, what programs are you offering? What do you offer? Business credit cards? Do you offer lines of credit? Do you offer business lines of credit? And what you'll find is about there's 2 numbers I like to share with people that if you make 100 phone calls, the first number is 5. So about 5% of those banks will offer no doc unsecured business lines of credit. And then the other number I share with you is 15. About 15% of those banks will offer no doc unsecured business credit cards. So it's two very different products. Business lines of credit are a little harder to come by. Business credit cards are a little more common. But if you're building up this database, you now have banks that are lending to small business owners that are offering business lines of credit, business credit cards that are no doc, unsecured, no collateral. You don't have to show tax returns or financials or anything like that. And what you do, Matt, is you take it a step further. So you finish calling all the banks in New Jersey, and you want to get more money, just call all the banks in Pennsylvania. And you say, hey, do you lend to businesses based out of New Jersey? And another 5% of those will say yes. And you call
Sure, I know people are probably a little confused. What's the difference between a business line of credit and a business credit card?
The business line of credit allows you to pull cash off the line of credit very easily just by transferring it to the business checking account. You could withdraw it as cash or write a check. The business credit card, it's a typical card that you charge. And if you want to pull cash off that credit card, you got to use services that will charge the credit card and then mail a check out. And they charge a big fee, a fee to do that. So like I have clients that have actually bought real estate. It's called Plastic. If you want to check them out, do your own research on them. I don't use it myself, but my clients do. And what they allow you to do is charge your credit card and pay any bill that you want. So what I have clients do on credit cards is they'll charge the credit card and mail the check to the title company for buying a real estate property. So that's one way to do it. I like to focus more on the business lines of credit, because it just takes a little bit extra work to build things up properly, and they're a little harder to come by, and takes more effort to make these phone calls. But like you can literally get $500,000 in unsecured business lines of credit with just the banks in New Jersey. And if you're in New Jersey, you can then go to Pennsylvania, Connecticut, New York, etc. I have banks in California that lend to New Jersey. So I say that there's no limit to how much business credit you can get. Like, don't take on more than you can handle, but it's virtually no limit. You can just keep going over and over again. And every year a new bank comes into the market and another bank leaves the market.
Right.
So it's an ongoing process. Are you there? Did it freeze?
No, I'm here.
Oh, you're there. Oh, sweet.
I thought you were still talking.
So that's it. That's what I wanted to cover with you guys. Those are the 7 steps.
It's amazing, man. It really is amazing. I'm not sure what works. New company startup looking for credit. Okay, so somebody messaged me, said they can't comment. How would it work for a new company startup looking for business credit? This is somebody who tuned in late.
Yeah, that's a good question. Definitely watch the replay so you can get a little more info on it. But in a nutshell, you want to follow the same 7 steps, and it'll be easier for you to get business credit cards than lines of credit because you're a newer business. Mm-hmm. But you could still get 450, 500,000. There's really no limit to how much you can get in business credit cards. It'll take you a little while to build that up. Each round of funding, I usually do like 5 or 6 banks at a time, and you'll clear anywhere from like 200, 250 per round of funding. But yeah, new businesses can do this as well. Just make sure you watch the replay so you can go through all 7 of the steps. And just know that newer businesses are mostly getting business credit cards. Established businesses that are 2 years or older are mostly getting business lines of credit. And Matt shared a cool little hint that a lot of these real estate companies, or investors, we create LLCs that might be on the shelf that we haven't necessarily used. You could bring that back to life and kind of pump life into it, get it listed online, get the business credit profile set up for it, and then use that as your seasoned company. Or you could even maybe reach out to another investor and say, hey, which I've done this at networking events in New Jersey. I say, hey, do you have any LLCs you're not using? They say, yeah. I say, well, let me buy it from you. That's a whole nother advanced trick that you can do.
So what if there's somebody out there right now that's watching this and they're concerned with trying to do with what you're talking about? Whoa, can't do that one. And they want to be handheld. You will work with them? Is there anybody that you won't work with? Obviously, you don't want to work with con artists, but is there anybody that you won't work with as long as they're open and upfront with you?
Yeah, there are some. So I'm a funnel hacker, and so I build sales
What's
funnels.
funnel hacking?
Funnel hacking. Hey, we were at Funnel Hacking Live together, weren't we? Last year.
Did you go this year?
I went this year, man. It was great.
I actually transferred my ticket to next year.
Okay, cool.
Where is next year? Did they say?
It's the same place, Nashville, Tennessee.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
All
right.
So one of the things that I learned, of course, is to define who my dream customer is. And the reason for that is I can do so much better job serving them, right? So who won't I work with? If someone doesn't necessarily have a real business and they just want to manipulate credit,
right.
They can buy my e-course and kind of learn that way. But I don't think I want to bring them over to the one-on-one relationships because I'm introducing you to my contacts at the bank who physically have met me and know where my office is. So I would want to, I'm not saying how I feel about that, but just simply that if you want to work with me, you got to be a real business. You know what to do with the money if you were to obtain it. So you invest in real estate, you invest in your marketing, you do the Burr method, which is, build up your rental portfolio, whatever it is.
Right.
That's really the main qualifying factor. Ideally, you have good credit so that we'll be able to get you quick results and you've been in business for a couple of years.
Right. We have a very strong listening base on different social platforms.
Where are we right now? I know we're on Facebook.
Yeah, we're actually we're on my company page. We're on YouTube.
You're on YouTube?
Yeah, man.
Woo!
I figured that one out. Actually, I didn't. Tommy and my team did for me. And then we're marketing on Short Sale 101, and there's a new platform that I have, which I haven't even introduced, which is Short Sales to Sheriff Sales. That's coming soon.
Oh, okay.
So I'm loading that one up now with these videos. So when people start to jump onto it, that's going to be the latest and the greatest craze as far as I'm concerned. So, but that's something for another time. But Joe, I appreciate you coming on here. The 12 o'clock hour, Monday through Friday, is obviously to show people, give them some education, give them some type of direction. During this time, people are stuck at home and they're trying to figure out, what do I do? What should I do? What can I learn? How many Netflix videos can I watch? Stuff like that. So this is great to have you on. I loved the information that you gave, and it was purely educational. We have amazing guests coming on, obviously like yourself, and I'm very grateful to have people, Joe, like you in my life. There's really not too many people in this industry. When I think of business credit, I think Joe Lawrence. You come from the investing background. I know you did credit repair for a little time. More Joe Tanzolo who's doing that.
Oh yeah.
And the two Joes.
That was fun.
And that's actually how I met you guys back in the day, which was fun. Joe's a good guy also, obviously. He's on to better and greater things.
You got to get him on here.
I'm going to have him on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to have him on, and I'm going to have Lana in the back with the snake around her neck.
Yeah, exactly.
But guys, Monday through Friday, this is where you can come on. You can get education. You can learn. We are starting to do our night show starting this Friday. We're going to kick it off. Leah and myself are actually going to introduce Real Estate Recovery Group. We're going to try to pull into a completely different audience. And the night show is where we're going to be diving in. So if you guys feel this is something of substance and you'd like to learn more about it and you want to have Joe on, the night show, if you're bashful and you're shy and you don't want to talk about it or message on Facebook, you can private message us and I'll let Joe basically know what the outcome is on that. Joe, at the end of every show, I ask people to do the same thing, and it's the finger point. So I got to ask, can you do it?
Yeah. What's that?
The finger point.
Oh, of course.
One sec. Oh, he's got the eyebrow going too. I like that. Guys, Joe Lawrence was our guest today, and it's businesscreditworkshop.net. Take a look at it on the bottom of the screen. There's a special code that's on there. Joe will do something special, nice for you if you mention the code RRGMAT, even during the COVID-19 times. So until next time, which will be tomorrow, this is Matt Marinoff, Real Estate Recovery Group. Thank you so much for tuning in. Live stream RRG. Joe Lawrence, everybody. Joe, hold on one sec. I'm going to log out. Don't go anywhere.
Thank you, guys.